Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 46 of Builders Talk. It was hard to decide today what to talk about because I guess I've been a bit wrapped up in some of the chatter on social media about builders and was deciding whether to have a discussion about what I have been reading and what I think about the discussions or whether to stay out of it. You know, I don't want to come off as sounding like I'm venting or I'm complaining, but I know that there are so many people in the same position as what we're in, and someone, I guess, needs to be a bit of an advocate for builders and the mum and dad building businesses that are out there just trying to make it, you know, I guess, an honest living in a really tough environment at the moment. I guess I wanted to use this platform not only as a place to give business insight for builders, tips and tactics, but also to serve as a platform for change. You know, I want this to be a journal of current events and what we are dealing with, and to be able to look back in history and see what we've gone through, what we've come out of, and what I guess has changed from this day forward. So when we started our building business, I wanted to build people's dreams, and I wanted to be the Imagineer of a person that, like I said, that I delved into someone else's imagination and dragged it out onto paper. I would say I became obsessed with designing homes, and I'd scour through my favorite magazine, which is Houses, which is probably somewhere here on my desk. And I'd look at the homes in awe and imagine how I could sculpt some of these features into our homes in a more affordable way so that the not so rich people could experience and live in these types of homes that they would only have dreamt of, but that we could put that into their homes as an affordable option, or I guess look for alternatives that gave them the same result or the same look and feel. But I'll talk at the moment about builders and how greedy they are and how bad they are at running a business, or how builders are just upping their prices to gouge more money from people. And I tell you now, most builders at the moment are just trying to survive, and they're just trying to get through the situations that they are in alive. And in one group, which actually is trade related, someone asked about cost increases. You know, the builder had asked them to pay some more money towards a house and land contract that they had not started yet, but they had gone under contract more than 6 months ago. And this person said, if the builder had secured all the materials and trades back when they signed the contract 6 months ago, why the increases? And I guess in the comments, it was said that if the builder had conducted their business better, like their business, they would have secured their pricing. And I guess people don't know that we can't and don't go out and secure the materials for their jobs when we first start. You know, they don't understand the way progress payment milestones are set up that doesn't give us the ability to go and do that. If the client wants us to pay for the materials all at the beginning of the job, you know, we can't do this because that money isn't there for us to go out and purchase materials on their behalf. Our business could not sustain if they did that. But clients assume that when they come and pick all the tiles, they pick their flooring, they pick their tapware, that we are ordering all of these items so that they are sitting there ready to go to site and are secured. And, you know, often when I ring up clients and say, you know, this tile's been discontinued, they say, but hang on a minute, you know, I told you that was the tile I wanted 6 months ago. Why haven't you got it? And I have to go through the process of explaining that I can't afford to buy those tiles and have them sitting in my shed. One, because we don't have the storage space. Two, because I can't afford to do that because I haven't been paid to buy all those materials by the client. And three, usually the client will make a decision and decide they're going to change those tiles, and I've already ordered them, then they can't change them. So there's many different elements to these types of things. And I believe, I guess, that something needs to be changed in the industry, and we need to educate people out there more about how the building process works and how we as builders work. And I guess I sort of see builders as being quite secretive, and I'm not sure if it's, I guess, an adoption from, you know, previous business models or behaviors. And it might come down to the typical race to the bottom price war that we get stuck in, and these type of smoke and mirrors tactics that builders try and hide things so that it makes it harder for clients to make comparisons between builders when they're trying to decide who they might build with. And I guess this filters into the community with people having very little knowledge about how we work, what we actually do, what our role in building a home is, and what regulations we are hamstrung by. The amount of money we have to regulate throughout the process and the huge costs we incur for someone else in this process. The amount of coordination that goes into building and keeping things moving. Just one thing changing at a critical moment in the process can have a huge effect on getting a project either finished or to the next payment milestone, or, not losing money. So how do we educate the public on the challenges and the real costs of building? I do have another show called About to Build, where I do talk about some of these challenges and what people who are about to build should understand and be, I guess, mindful of and looking out for. And I guess I've put a hold on that show for the last 6 months because I had to focus my attention on ensuring that our business got through this crazy time. But I'll be starting it up again, as I believe there needs to be a voice out there making the industry more transparent so that people can understand how this whole building game works. One of the other pages I came across was in the local community Facebook, where someone was asking if they had worked with 2 particular builders in the area, as they were sick of builders they have had quotes from, and then when they're ready to start, they've had the builder has said, we have to re-quote that, and the prices have gone up. And they wanted to know which builders would fix price for them. And as you can imagine, there were some negative comments about the 2 particular builders that they asked about. And I don't understand why people think it's okay to bag out other businesses in a local forum, which could destroy a local mum and dad business. If I was to bag out that person online, I'm sure they would not take it kindly. And, I guess people just need to learn to be a bit more tactful in a public forum. Ask the person if they can talk to them offline, if you feel that it's your duty to tell them about something. But just remember that it is your experience, and your experience may be different than someone else's experience. They could have been a difficult client, and I'm sure you've all worked with those type of clients. But some of the comments were in defense of builders and pointing out why should builders have to, I guess, wear the material increases for someone else's home? Some comments, and I guess there was comments there that said, why would you want to work with a builder that may go broke halfway through the build if you're not going to, pay towards those materials that at the end of the day are for your home? So builders aren't increasing their prices because they're just wanting to make more money. They're increasing their prices just out of necessity. They're being hit from all angles by material costs, labor cost increases. Now there's fuel prices have gone up. And if you're in a fixed price contract, it's very difficult to go back to a client and ask for more money. You can't ask for money from them on duress basis. So it's very difficult to broach the subject with that client. You'll probably find builders that are not even putting up their margins, but they're just wanting to pass on the material and labor increases to the client that have, if they've already been quoted. But there are builders out there that are sticking to the fixed price, that they've signed contracts back, 6 months ago. And then there are ones that are going back to the clients and asking for more money to cover the costs, as they are trying to stay in business and keep a client's house moving so that they can keep that going forward for the client. There are builders that have had to walk away from contracts as they know that they will go out of business if they actually take those contracts on and go through the process of building a house for their clients. We should be able to make those decisions without so much dirt being thrown our way. And I understand it from the client side. They have, they've gone through the whole process with the builder and excited about their home being built, and then their dream gets ripped away from them. They know it will be more expensive to go and sign up with another builder, so they're wanting to protect that price, that they originally had with that builder, because they know that they may be not even able to afford to build again for a while if they, I guess, have to go to another builder to get Another quote. So everyone just needs to look at things from both sides of the fence. However, all this negative talk got me thinking about the type of clients that we want to work with and what maybe some of the alarm bells that would ring when I'm working with someone in the initial stages of designing and quoting their new home. So most people tell you, you need to have a dream avatar. You need to work out the client's ideal age you want to work with, their income. Do they have kids? What type of work do they do? Then you just take it a step further and you name that person and you find a photo of them and you put that up on your wall. And every decision you make about your business should run by this said person that's up on your wall. Let's just say Jan. So you are going to ask Jan, would she be happy with X when you're making a decision about something you might change in your business? Or what would she think about Y? So I believe this is a good way, I guess, to define your avatar if your business is one that has a product that someone buys and you may never see them again or have any interaction or any contact with them. However, in the type of business builders are in, we have a very long-term relationship with our clients and we'll work with them for a minimum of 9 months. But for custom builders, it could be years. And it's a very emotional journey for most of our clients. So we need to have some other metrics that help us decide on who our ideal client is. And one thing that I use is more, instead of, I guess those things are demographics, is psychographics. So psychographics is more to do with why your client might work with you. There are traits that you might look for in a person that you're going to work with, such as their lifestyle the person leads, their values, their personality, their interests, their opinions, and their goals. These are the things that make a person unique. I'm currently writing a book, so I started to list out the types of values that I look for when deciding if I'm going to work with someone. And believe me, they're not foolproof. You always get some clients that slip through that you wish you hadn't let through. And the biggest thing for me is to work with someone who has the desire to be different, or they don't have the desire necessarily to be different, but they have the desire to have something different. They don't want to settle for the standard. I even have a saying in the office, if someone is happy to settle for standard, they are in the wrong place. So if people keep asking for standard plans, standard inclusions, these are typically not my clients. We would be wasting our time, as I know that they will go and compare things which are materialistic as such. I guess the bits and pieces, they're comparing taps and toilets with this builder and that builder. And I believe in clients that are more interested in achieving a desired result, more in regard to their home design than feeling they are wanting to achieve, I guess at the end of the day, yes, a tap is a tap, but a design or a feeling is what I work towards. I want to create a home that reflects the way their family lives and how they interact. Now, a home that has their stamp on it, not just a generic, same as the house next door. So I know these are not my people. I know the best clients to work for are the ones that trust our expertise and our guidance to what will make their home work for them and their situation. I'm not about generic one size fits all. I listen to my clients, I listen to the needs and wants, and imagine imagine how all of that fits into the walls of their home. So if you want to learn more about the traits I use to find my ideal clients, you'll have to wait for my book release, which is later on in the year. But in the meantime, I'll keep educating the public in the hope that this will in turn improve builders' lives and businesses as more people are aware of how this industry works and have a better understanding of the processes to building a home. But until next week, keep powering your business.